Hi everyone, Tony here for Immortality. You caught me reminiscing on some proven home remedies that were tradition growing up. How did parents and guardians diagnose and treat all those life-threatening diseases with little more than garlic and other home ingredients? Memories.
My mom cured everything with Vicks Vaporize. Vicks Vaporize. There's one time I thought I had pneumonia. I go, Mom, I think I have pneumonia. She goes, I'll put extra Vicks on your body, Joseph. Just rub it everywhere, Joseph. Rub it on the bottom of the foot. And then put a sock on the foot. And then the pneumonia will come out of the foot, Joseph.
There are many of these remedies that are effective, such as vinegar in the ear for ear infections, flushing sinuses with a neti pot, gargling salt water for gum infections, placing copper coins on wounds as an antibacterial, antiviral to prevent infections. It is said that the ancient peoples, the Egyptians, Babylonians, and the seafaring Phoenicians inserted shavings from their bronze swords into battle wounds to prevent infection and speed up healing. If not for the correct means for placebo activation alone, it also provides us an identity and a heritage that is lifelong.
This is the kind of stuff my mum always swore by as a kid. I really enjoyed it, but since going to medical school, I've been quite scornful of this kind of home remedy.
The syrup's ready, now I just need the cough.
It's basically a pepper spray right into my lungs.
Yeah, chili pepper. Right.
It's like inhaling a curry. Okay, so now we want to try the syrup.
Yeah.
God, I'm never going to hear the end of this at home if this works.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do it again.
Say when?
Now.
That was remarkable.
It's a bloody miracle.
But it's still all going into my lungs.
Yeah.
Gosh, Mum, I'm really sorry.
That's absolutely fantastic.
I'm really amazed. The interesting thing is, it's kind of the arrogance of doctors, isn't it? That we almost don't want to say honey and lemon is
We
very
don't
effective.
have a scientific or very good scientific explanation for this. We don't know about this very complicated area of the body.
All right, well, I'm persuaded.
A little bit of honey, a bit of boiling water, squeeze of lemon. No, it's not a evidence-based randomized trial, but it's dirt cheap and it works in my house.
Here is a topic that I have been following for several years now: prophylaxis for upper and lower respiratory diseases. During the 1918 flu pandemic, a group of English villagers noticed that workers who were exposed to noxious gases saw lower rates of influenza. Because of the correlation, many parents took their children to the nearest industrial plant instead of the doctor. One sanitary officer decided to investigate the claim. He found that the general rate of influenza was 40%. At a local tin factory where workers were exposed to nitric acid, it was just 11%. If those workers also inhaled gunpowder, the rate was a mere 5%, writes Dr. Jeremy Brown in his book, Influenza. In New Zealand during the 1918 pandemic, one action taken in many towns and cities was to set up inhalation sprayers that dispersed a solution of zinc sulfate. Most sprayers were set up in public buildings. They were made even more accessible in Christchurch after someone observed that the compressed air braking systems on trams could be adapted to operate a sprayer by reconnecting a few hoses. Eventually 14 trams were converted and stationed on loops at the end of all major routes, handily placed to serve the outlying districts. A paper published on February 5, 1898, titled A Report of the Treatment of Pulmonary Tuberculosis by the Inhalation of Antiseptic Vapors by Johnson, George W., involves using inhalation vapors that are antiseptic to kill the virus in the respiratory system, just like the tin factory observation, but safer for humans. Caution: inhaling any gas can lead to death. You can deceptively get a fatal dose. It requires expert supervision and technical knowledge. We do not have the studies that understands the various substances, their safety, safe dosages, or safe durations. The proposition: inhale a gas to sterilize the respiratory system. Formulate a safe gas for human beings to inhale while being 100% deadly to pathogens. Currently, a total of 16 candidates have been identified, with high concentration saline being the safest, generally safe using nebulizers and in a steam room application where there is an additional prophylaxis against skin diseases. Nebulizers are commonly used in hospitals for the treatment of asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, and cystic fibrosis, and saline solutions are also utilized. A recent video titled Gymnasium 2.0 investigates expansion of the sauna and steam room to include a safe vapor for the prophylaxis of various respiratory diseases. And while we have identified 16 candidates, we have no studies to determine safety or efficacy. What is at stake here? One strategy of longevity is by solving all-cause mortality, where respiratory infections are the third leading cause of death after heart disease and cancer. Pneumonia caused by respiratory infection is a common occurrence. A prophylaxis in a sauna or steam room setting could prevent a whole range of respiratory diseases, including pneumonia. Respiratory infections are generally divided into two categories: upper respiratory infections and lower respiratory infections. Additionally, tuberculosis is the 11th leading cause of death. It primarily affects the lungs and is spread through the air when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks, and another person inhales the bacteria. Meningitis is the 19th leading cause of death and can be contracted through contact with respiratory and throat secretions such as saliva, sputum, or nasal mucus from an infected person. It can also be spread through close contact with an infected person, such as through coughing or sneezing. Upper respiratory diseases: the common cold, usually caused by the rhinovirus; influenza, flu, caused by the influenza virus; sinusitis, caused by bacteria, viruses, or fungi; pharyngitis, sore throat, caused by bacteria or viruses; laryngitis, usually caused by viruses; lower respiratory diseases: pneumonia, caused by bacteria, viruses, or fungi; bronchitis, caused by viruses or bacteria; tuberculosis, caused by bacterium, Mycobacterium tuberculosis; pertussis, whooping cough, caused by bacterium Bordetella pertussis; Legionnaire's disease, caused by the bacterium Legionella pneumophilia; severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, caused by the SARS coronavirus; Middle East respiratory syndrome, MERS, caused by the MERS coronavirus; COVID-19 caused by SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. Measles initially affects the respiratory system but can lead to complications affecting other organs such as brain, eyes, and gastrointestinal tract. Mumps, a viral infection that primarily affects the salivary glands, but can also affect other organs such as pancreas, testes, and ovaries. It is spread through respiratory droplets. In longevity, we do sauna and steam room 3 to 4 times a week. Adding a vapor room provides a respiratory system prophylaxis and is an easy fit in the existing protocol. And all of these diseases in one therapy is what could be possible. A prophylaxis against all the mentioned diseases in one vapor. There is much at stake. The possibility is worthy of study. With influenza, the onset of symptoms can occur anywhere from 1 to 4 days after infection with the influenza virus. The common cold occurs within 1 to 3 days after exposure to the virus. There is a probability that a vapor session could limit the severity of the respiratory illness or avert it altogether if caught before the onset. Now, for the last several years, this has all been theoretical, until recently a paper titled Effect of Ethanol Vapor Inhalation Treatment on Lethal Respiratory Viral Infection with Influenza A provides the proof of concept. The abstract reads, ethanol effectively inactivates enveloped viruses in vitro, including influenza and severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. Inhaled ethanol vapor may inhibit viral infection in mammalian respiratory tracts, but this has not yet been demonstrated. Here we report that unexpectedly low ethanol concentrations in solution, approximately 20% volume over volume, rapidly inactivate influenza A virus at mammalian body temperature and are not toxic to lung epithelial cells on apical exposure. Furthermore, brief exposure to 20% volume over volume ethanol decreases progeny virus production in influenza A virus infected cells. Using an ethanol vapor exposure system that is expected to expose murine respiratory tracts to 20% volume over volume ethanol solution by gas-liquid equilibrium, we demonstrate that brief ethanol vapor inhalation twice a day protects mice from lethal influenza A virus respiratory infection by reducing viruses in the lungs without harmful side effects. Our data suggests that ethanol vapor inhalation may provide a versatile therapy against various respiratory viral infectious diseases. The paper suggests that it may be possible to have a safe antiviral, antibacterium therapy for a vast range of respiratory pathogens. The link to the paper and a link to the monitoring of the concept is in the description. While this research is largely ignored, even though the potential is great, we will continue documenting and supporting the prospect. Tony, over and out.